So I've got that heating up at the moment, and what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and strip some of these wires back, which won't be too hard. Join hopefully the correct ones to the correct ones. I've got to do it at some point, haven't I? And then I bought myself some of this stuff, and then basically what you do is you feed it on and you get your iron and you heat your iron up near it, and the heat shrinks it in place. So that's what I'm going to use to fix that. How much, if any, I can show you me try to do this, I don't know. I may just bring you back at stages, but we'll see what I can. So what I've done is I've put a bit of the shrink on there. That's just orange on its own. Now there are two orange ones, and I don't know how easy it'll be for you to pick up, but there you go. If you look there, you might just be able to see that's orange and black. Yeah, you can see a little black strand. You can see it there now. So that's orange and black. So there's an orange and there's an orange and black. Obviously, it would be fatal if I connected the wrong ones necessarily, so I might send the wrong voltage down the line. It won't work anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to join. So you can see where I've just stripped off the edges. I'm just going to put a bit of solder down on them, and I'm just going to join them together, and then I'm just going to put shrink over them. I'm not going to do anything magical here, it's just reattach them and make sure they can't short. Right, so all you're going to be able to see there is I've joined them. Now I will put a bit more solder on there just to shore it up, and I'll slide that down and just shrink it over the top. That's all I'm literally going to do with it. Very, very little here, but obviously it will take time. It's a time-consuming job. If you can see there, all you do with that is then you just slide it in, and it's very hard to do this, but probably have to finish it off. And then all you do is hold the heat really near, you don't need to touch it, and eventually it'll just shrink into place. And then that's one done, and I have to do that obviously for every single one. I can't see, I'm probably miles away from it there. There you go, I'm actually close now. All you do is hold it close, and then eventually that can't move, it'll just basically cover it. Right, so I've done a few now. Just about to do the last of the greens, which is a green and black. It is it's not that time consuming, it's a little bit time consuming, but obviously I don't have much to work with that side, and I've got loads to work with that side. But yeah, I mean, I'm just attaching them as I go. I haven't tried to shrink them down. It seems a bit hit and miss shrinking them down, but I'll crack on with it and see where I get to. But yeah, it seems to be working. It's looking pretty tidy considering. Pretty professional job. It's a tiny bit more tricky. So I've got about 8 to do, and you can see the colours. They're all very similar. So that's like black, red and green. That's black and red. There's white and black, and black and they're pretty confusing. Yeah, so I'm going to take my time with these because they're not as easy. Not gonna lie, found a quicker way of doing that. Got the hot air station out and basically just use your air station to shrink it. Job done. Actually looks a really good job. I'm very impressed. Not quite impressed, very impressed. Could have prevented James needing to do more work if we just unplugged that there, look. That would have made life so much easier. So now I've got to redo these, but I've took that off for now. Bit dusty under there, isn't it? So I've took that off there, just literally slipped forward on them clips, and I'll just reattach this in my own time while sat here. Got the soldering iron on, get the words out, James. And that's where I am. Shout out to Mr. Pritchard, who I've just been to his house for a brew and dropped off a roller coaster. So that's my morning's work done, but this thing is definitely my afternoon's work. I'd love to see some lights and see this on. I have put a power supply in. You see where it says Kung Fu. It's one that I did for this a couple of months ago. So I've got a power supply for it. And the rest of it I'm just going to piece together the same as I did the other bit. And I'm also going to do that earth as well, which is going to go to there. So might as well do that the same way. See, it's a bit clearer though here. So all I do is I strip a bit of wire back, put a bit of the shrink on, and then I just solder the two bare wires together and then just cover it with a shrink and shrink it. That's pretty much what I do, but you can see out here now because it's middle of daytime and it's very clear, so that's what I'm doing. See nice and clearly it's soldered together, so pretty straightforward though. The hot air gun out in a second and just show me shrinking it, just because I think it'll be fun to show. Right, so the way the hot air gun works pick it up. Don't know if you can hear it. And then it'll literally, all you do, it might take a little bit to get hot temperature. Yeah, you see it slowly shrinking there now. There you go, that one shrunk. And it goes a bit harder, it sort of stiffens up as it shrinks. That's one done. These might go together. I suspect you can use an hairdryer or something to do these and all. But when it's shrunk, obviously it don't move. You see that one going now? There we go. Some nice heat through it now. There we go. And then there, rigid. There we go. And that is done. All done. And then as we put it back down again, we start counting the temperature down as it cools down and goes down to 0 again. And that's done. They're gone out of the way and you'll see they can't move anymore and they've gone pretty rigid, so they're better than new. And it's just a case of cleaning it, popping it all back in, clipping it all together now. Yeah, it's a good news. So that goes down there because it was attached to that loom and the only kind of place it can reach and go to is there. So that solves that issue, and it chases all around the top and goes across the top there. So I've got that in now. I'm pretty confident that's that switch. I've got this, don't know what it attaches to yet, not sure at the moment. That's part of something, don't know what. I've got these which look like they must be my door switches. They're that door switch which will come across the cab again and it'll sort of feed down through into here and then through. So I'll put that in and then the bottom's done. So they're in now as far as they need to go for the time being. I've got to figure out which way round they go. That's a simple switch, so it doesn't matter with that one. And then I need to figure out all my earths to my power supply, what reaches, what I can get where, because obviously I need to earth that. I need to find a solution for that as well. That's in now. So PSU's in the correct place. And the earth goes up to, attaches onto that metal plate to earth that, so that's earthed, so the top cab's earthed up there. Yeah, I think we're as in as we're getting for the bottom of the boat, for the bottom of the machine anyway. Haven't done those yet. I'll try and figure them out when I've got the machine on. And I just guesstimated the top one for the time being, so that's where I'm at. So I feel like as complete as I can get it. Negatives is that I haven't got anything to glue this into place. We know that I want that sat against that back wall there, but pretty confident for testing. So I've got down here parts, sound card, game card, main board. I'm going to throw them in, see what works. I'm probably going to put it in stages. Meters I'm pretty confident with, hopper not so confident with. So let's see what we can get out of it first, I think. So far what we've put in there is power. Pretty self-explanatory. The reels, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now obviously when we're doing the reels, make sure we've got them in nice and firmly, and reseat if necessary, because they sometimes look on and are not, and make sure that meters plug is on. So they're all the plugs I'm dead confident with that are on. I don't have any issues with that. That's for your sound, it's on your sound card. And then the other side you've got your lamp looms there. Then above it you've got your pace lines, which is one I'm not as convinced about, because obviously we know it's been cut. Coin mech, which will be fine. And then we've got up there, we've got the aux interface at the top. So basically a case of putting all these plugs on now. All the plugs that I'm confident about, don't believe there's an issue with. Hopefully we'll find out there isn't an issue. they're all in. So they're in. And that's where we're up to at the moment. So there's Teddy having a little bit back. We've got a percentage key on there. Not put the boards in yet. I've not put a power cable into the PSU yet. I will do. And then obviously we know they come out and they all feed into there as well, off that bypass board. Right, so let's continue to build. So at the moment I've put in the game card, I've put in the processor card, I've not put a sound card in. And I don't know, I put my dills down because I don't actually know where my dills go. This will have been in one of my Impact clubbers at some point, where you do need the dills to do stakes and prizes. Whereas I guess you don't on that, I guess it's on there. That's where we're at the moment. Going to pop in the reels. I'm not going to bother putting that in just yet. I'm going to see what sort of boot we get. I could ring the reel master and ask him the question. Normally, when they come out, somebody will leave you some clues on them as to which reel is which. But it doesn't appear that anyone has. Now, pretty certain that is the middle reel, isn't it? That's definitely the middle reel. And I think that the box bar is on the treble bar is on the third reel. Yeah, it is. So I'm pretty certain that's 1, 2, 3. But like I said, normally there's a clue. Normally the clue is either on the actual reel or on the band. You see the bands are top corners of these cracked. This one's cracked. Or on the band somewhere it'll actually say reel 1, reel 2 and reel 3. But this one doesn't. Which isn't really great. But I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? Not a lot I can do. Need a bit of a clean, they're a bit dusty. Or there's like a dot for single dot, double dot, treble dot. And I haven't got them either. And it's probably the actual real number is hidden under there somewhere. But I'm pretty certain they're the right way around. If they're not the right way around, we'll know when we actually finally play the game and we'll be able to swap them anyway. So they're going in next. Putting them in. So if you look just on, if you can see it there, on the far side, there actually does say, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually says reel 3 on the far side E7. So I was right. Tip, just give your reels a turn when you've got them in, make sure that they're nice and free. They all look pretty straight in there. Yeah, we can always adjust them again afterwards if we need to. And they've got a guide hole at the front for where the front is. And then your back bit, for example, you can just give them a little shove, move them over. Yeah, get them right and just check they're free. You can, not so much with these, but certainly in Barcrest. When you pull the hopper out of Barcrest, it brings a loom here around the front. And then what happens is that then ends up pressing against your third reel here, and then it sets off reel alarm. And that's quite a regular occurrence with Barcrests. Like, not so much JPMs. JPMs are pretty cool for that sort of thing, but just one to bear in mind. I'm thinking I'm just going to give you a quick one here. Right, you see these pins here? All these pins correspond to something on these sockets, and this is probably the main reason JPM impact boards end up on somebody's workbench being fixed again. And if I can help a few people avoid it, that'd be beautiful. So all of these pins correspond to different functions. Okay, so when, for example, anyway, so then pins. So when, for example, pins bend, and I find these boards like this all the time that come to me, 2 pins will short out against each other, and unfortunately, when something shorts on an electric circuit board, they end up going kablamo, unfortunately. And you should always check before you install an impact board. You should always check that none of them pins are touching each other, or at risk of touching each other, because that is one of the single biggest causes of kablamos. And I get it with people that have new boards or have boards that have been previously repaired by somebody. And when I get them, I find the pins are all bent together. And that can even be coming from a company, because they have to be parcelled up, end up on a shelf somewhere, and all it takes is the pins to bend against each other, be touching. You boot the machine up, send the wrong voltage down the wrong line, and something unfortunately makes way. Right, well, shall we see what's doing then, shall we? Gonna do anything else? What are you gonna tell me? Error. 4.4 percentage key missing. An eagle-eyed viewer amongst you may realise I've already swapped the board once, but I'm getting a percentage fault. And I've got a key on there. Have I got a duff key? That's my next error, is this thing, which is Stakes and Prizes key, which is inside the cabinet. Now that is on 2 up, which is £10. The ROMs that I'm using are £15 ROMs at the moment, so it possibly is that the ROMs that I've got, because of £15, were released after 10 quid, and they're upgrades so they don't switch back to 10. And it's possible, entirely possible, that this is causing my problem. So I'm getting an error at the moment which says 9.4 on the screen, and 9.4 is a program error. So I'm guessing I need to try and set that up differently now to, I think, 25p, maybe 20p, but I think 25p, £15. So I'm going to go on Swallow Amusements and get the percentage key and Stakes and Prizes settings, because they're all one little thing together, and change that. We have some sort of semi-progress. We had a connection issue there, must have another one here, or reel 2's not fully on, maybe. Stop the board again, possibly. Reel 2's catching on something. Not running correctly. It's actually booted this time. Let's have a little look at that. So that was just a connection issue to that. I give it a wiggle and a push, and it just popped into life. Right, so they don't sound the nicest reels, do they? I'll have to take them apart and give them a bit of a clean, I suppose. One of them's middle reel's definitely not as free as the others. So we are to a point we're running. I've sorted my reels out, although even I've caused that flakes off, which can cause a little bit of damage, which is a bit annoying. But we're running, and we now have it in coin test, which we don't have coins, so we can't reel test. We can do reel test. Oh, there you go. Reel 1, red 7, red 7, red 7, £10. We've got lights out and stuff, but what we can do is we can now move the reels round. You can just hold it if you want to, and you can move them as well. So we're in a position that moves the top one. Is it collect? Yeah, there you go. So moving that round as well now, that's good. So that's alright, we can accept that. Reel test, lamp test, that's an important one. Press that button. he says. Have I got lamps? Oh, it's stepping the lamps. You won't be able to see in this light particularly. I don't really want that. I'd rather have all lamps on or off. Switch test. Yeah, let's test them. So you see, it'll say on there switches. And that's going to come in handy in a bit for when I sort them out. Have it in the switch test, so I'll be able to test those switches and see if those switches are working as well. Thanks, Coco. There's one of them. Always one of them barking. Display test. Yep, well, let's have a display test. Display is working, and that display is working, which is good. So I know they work. Meters, need to see if they work. Don't forget I fixed them. Oh, hit meters and it said refill. Does that mean it thinks it knows it's empty? Ain't got a hopper in you, mate, at the moment. I'm just not expecting that. Volume. Well, I didn't get a very long sound sample, did I? Put it a bit lower.
It's the fight of your life.
Oh, there you go. Right, percentage test. That'll be an interesting one. Aim 92, actual 0. So this is going to be off its box. I put a fixed key on. Dogs, I'm busy. So that's percentage test. Photo. That'll pour my lights on. That'll be handy because I can at least go through the ones that don't work. Although I don't have every. Unfortunately, I don't have every lamp. I'm a bit short of 10 mils at the moment. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. No, I don't need a dump, but let's just try, see if it pays out the quids. And that's spinning. So I've just literally had to hammer this back into place because the wood expands. So what I've actually done is I've got some WD-40 around the side of it. And then I've just knocked it in gently, but the hopper is spinning. So shall we see if it pays out pounds? We don't know if it takes them yet. I've got all quids here because I'm assuming the upper bit it's going to be on all. Right. I'd imagine it will just dump the pounds out. That's what I'm hoping for. Yep. Cool. That must be the last one. Right, so the hopper dump works, that's good. Right, should we see if it takes one? So I've actually found a quid or two. Oh, not going so well. That's just dumping, I don't want to do that. That's definitely in coin test mode. I'm going to grab a couple of new ones just in case. Literally 2 and a 20p. Let's try the 20p first. Nope, don't want to know. Right, so Mech's not causing an alarm, but it doesn't work. So there's another job for me to look at, I guess. But, I mean, the biggest worry for me was the payout. Biggest worry for me was that, and that works. I don't even know if I plugged in the Mech. Bad news, it says 5 cash in. So I'm gonna go with this Mech is fucked. For want of a better word, and it wasn't plugged in. Didn't check my work. So yeah, it weren't plugged in, it's now plugged in, it isn't working. So there's a coin Mech error. And it's running a 435A. the moment. Coin controls. I have got an SR5, but it might not root correctly for this machine. But might be what we're stuck with for the time being. But this mech is, I think, knackered. Slight result. It's only a slight result, but £2. It roots it to the bottom, so I reckon that's just a setting. I think it's probably because it's binary mech, but yeah, my quids are in bottom. That's a bit of a dirty tray. I'll get a new one at some point for it. Trays, incidentally, here's another bloody thing about this. So trays, it mustn't have taken standard JPM trays in it, because that's a standard JPM tray, and that, I mean, it goes there, but it don't look right to me. Things can be bothered showing you. I've repaired that. There's a corner missing. I'll put the other screw in there in a bit. I've put the top two in. What else have I done? I've just put some tape along here just to try and hold this. You can see it's just ever so slightly falling now. It's fallen a bit further before, and it was just landing on the reels a little bit, just a tiny bit irritating. So I sorted that out. Great. It's not done that for a while. I've just knocked the thing loose, haven't I? Just knocked this loose. There, because this is what was causing it before. Just check. I'm gonna have to take that off at some point. There's obviously a dodgy solder joint in there that just needs tidying up. It'll probably go off again now, knowing it, but see if I get doors to shut. This is what I was trying to show you before. Don't say 9.8, God, it's booting up. It's got a cracked solder joint on it somewhere in the stakes and prizes. There we go, back alive again. So I'll go on the table at some point. There we are, we're now finally into a tract. As you can see, we haven't sadly got all the bulbs, but we're better than we were. And it also must think that the bottom door's shut, even though it's not even connected, purely on the basis that it recognises the front door shutting. Although I've not tried it with real money to see if I can sort that out. Dogs have not shut up all day. Good news is we're alive. I nicked all of the bulbs out of there. What you'll often find me do is nick all of these bulbs because they're not as important. I've nicked all of them as well. Just want to get the game on, really. About repairing. When you stood outside, I've put some coins in, so if in the unlikely event this machine sat on 92%, currently paying 0, fancy's actually paying out something. Nothing in 10 spins.
You want to fight? Well, fight me.
Can't hold them. This is why we don't play stuff like Kung Fu. Yeah, don't worry, you're only on 92%. Into it for a pot.
You want to fight? Well, fight me.
I don't want to fight. I literally just want to win.
Oh, you're the best in China.
Probably should just go for like them spins.
You want to fight? Well, fight me.
There's one up there? No, yes, there is 3 nudges. God, this is tight. I might sight it. You can actually hear the meters ticking over, can't you?
You want to fight? Well, fight me.
Of course, you gave me numbers in view. We've got a win finally.
You fight well, my son.
I fight more well if you pay it out. I mean, if he does pay out, there's actually no point in me wiring the bottom doors up, although I will do, but there you go. So it's in real money mode, which is an absolute result. So that's sorted as well. So it pays out, it takes money, it needs a few bulbs, it needs a bottom door. But it's a free machine. It's actually a complete machine now. I'm well happy. I'm well happy more in the fact that I've managed to sort some of the jobs out that I thought were going to be a complete ball ache pretty much straight away. Yeah, so all good. And at some point this is coming into the house. I'll probably do that later on. Might do it tomorrow, I don't know, I'll see how I feel. Purely because I don't want to really leave it outside to the elements. But yeah, we're nearly there with it. It's got a couple of minor jobs, like I said, but a routing plug being one of them, a rebulbing being another. I mean, these are piss easy jobs. And they don't take much time and effort to do, and I've actually got a complete machine. I'm working on the £10, and it will always be, I would imagine it'll always be flying. Look, the decal's fallen down there, look. Decal that lives there has gone down there, and that'll be a fucker to get back out. But like I said, it's minor stuff, and yeah, I'm just very happy it's working.
Mega kebab! Oh, hot sauce!